went to the front door, and as I was about to turn the handle, he just tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, look up there. What do you see?" And I said without missing a beat, "It's an angel." I said, "Oh my God, it's an angel."
This is Touched by Heaven, everyday encounters with God. Those moments when heaven and earth collide and we see God. Here we are, episode 252. I'm your host, Trapper Jack. So glad you're here today. You know, it's not very often I reference last week's episode. I'm going to reference last week's episode. Had to do with Melanie. She lives in the UK. Here we are again this week, and I get another email from someone else in the UK, Moira. All right, so let's go back. Hello, Moira.
Hello!
Hello!
That's Trapper!
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, hello! Oh, it's so nice to hear you.
Well, nice to hear you too. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Awesome. Where are you in the UK?
In Gloucester. You probably won't have heard of it, but it's not far from Wales, southwest of England.
Not only have I heard of it, I interviewed someone from there yesterday.
Oh my God! Oh, was it Mel?
It was Mel.
Oh, Mel! Yeah, she's part of our group.
Wow! No, whoa! Looky there!
I know. Well, she prompted me to listen, and so we did, and we played some of your wonderful testimonies at we organised these little retreat days, and Mel comes and we played some, and they were so uplifting, and so that's why I contacted you, really, because I just wanted to say thank you, and just maybe somebody might be lifted by it. I don't know.
And I sense a guy in the room.
Oh, shall I say it's John? Yeah, John.
It's John.
Yeah, John's the guy.
Okay.
Or, a good Irish man there. Well, he's the spiritual one, really. He's very tuned in, and he organised this rosary walk. We do a rosary walk every Sunday.
Growing up, there was not a lot of God in Moira's life.
But I come from a pretty atheistic background, I think, family. Gradually just got back somehow.
What made you interested? What grabbed you?
What grabbed me? Well, my mum passed away, and that makes you question things, doesn't it? It makes you look at what your beliefs are and what's all that about. And I was just very aware that she was with me. In fact, I knew she'd passed away when I was in Japan at the time, and I just knew something had happened. And of course, she had. And I just felt her very much around me, and I sort of brought me back, I suppose, into church. And then I met my chap, good Irish Catholic, lapsed, and we sort of dragged each other back.
Who's dragging who, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's a long story, but that's kind of it, really.
Okay. And what story do you want to tell me?
Well, it was in the pandemic a couple of years ago, and we were just sitting down at the kitchen table and feeling pretty flat. Are we wasting our time? Are we deluded? I hate wasting my time, and maybe we'll stop this rosary walk and we'll just pull out of all the things we do, and we've got it wrong. I was feeling pretty
the faith
flat.
just wasn't happening. Something just, there wasn't a spark.
No,
what was it?
We wouldn't have converted anyone. we would have helped people leave the church, leave a few pews. Okay. And we were feeling very flat and just not in the mood. A lovely grey summer's day in England, and so we weren't at our best. And anyway, it was in this kind of flat sort of spiritual nadir, I would say. Just felt nothing. So anyway, so I said, well, I'm going to go for a walk, clear my head. And I went to the front door, had my hand on the door handle. And John walked me to the door, as he always does, to make sure I do go and leave the house. And as I was about to turn the handle, he just tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, look up there. What do you see?" And I said, without missing a beat, "It's an angel." I said, "Oh my God, it's an angel."
Where were you looking?
Up at the wall. It was by the side of the stairs.
Okay.
Like our door's there, and then the stairs are to the right, and you go up the stairs, and on the wall on the left, below the window, was this angel about 4 foot by 3 foot, like a shadow, but not a shadow. I mean, it's difficult to describe something that isn't of this realm, if you know what I mean. It was in the wall. And it wasn't, and yeah, it was just unmistakably an angel. It wasn't like if you squinted and looked a certain way, it could be a cat or a dog. It was an angel with wings and a sort of halo. There was a little halo.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't. It was just solid, but in the wall. And but if anyone might think, oh, well, it was probably a heightened emotion state, or you were willing it to happen. Just the absolute opposite. Just wasn't in the mood. I just wanted to go for a walk. I wasn't even thinking in any kind of about anything spiritual at all. And so it had to be something really convincing for me to even because our moods were completely transformed in that moment. We were just like, wow. And a lot of scratching of head, like Stan Laurel, like that's an angel. Wow. That's an angel. And that's all we said for a few minutes. Nothing profound. We just said, God, what is an angel? And so it went on, and
just looked at it because this is just bizarre.
Yeah, because it was just unmistakable. I mean, anyone who would be there would just, it was there. It was just there. It was just, it was an angel.
Black and white. What are we looking at here? What kind of colors, or is it just whatever color the wall was, or what?
I wish I could say it was, all these colors, but it was just like a shadow, that color, but sort of like a gray, like an imprint in the wall.
Okay.
I can't jazz it up. That's what it was, but it was so distinct, like somebody had drawn it or something like that. But it filled in, and but our moods were completely transformed. Like if we'd have struggled to make out what it was, like it could be a cat or a dog, we wouldn't have jumped up and down. But it was so unmistakable, and so it wasn't a reflection because there was no sun that day. It was a grey day, and I go up and down those stairs all the time, and if I go up there on a sunny day, the only thing that you'll ever see is the reflection of the railings of the stairs. That's all you see. You would never see an angel 4 foot by 3 foot with a halo.
So did you still go for your walk, or just look at it until it disappeared? What happened?
I think we just got the message. It was less like we were so excited, and we were so transformed in that moment. I just said,
We
needed something. They are God's messengers, aren't they? That's what angels are, and we needed something to transform us because we just felt so flat. And I read a lot, and I thought, well, you can't beat seeing something. I mean, or sensing something. But I just thought, okay, I get it. There is something amazing, and I'll never probably understand it really. But I get it.
Was there a long-term effect?
Long-term, I do, but I know it. Whenever I do get like that, I do think, don't forget what you saw, and I really respect the fact that was placed there. I didn't take a photograph or anything. I mean, in a way, sometimes I wish I did, but at the time, it felt disrespectful. Like, what was I going to do? Take a selfie with it? I mean, it just felt wrong.
Here's John and I in front of the angel. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I know. It just wrong,
Nice selfie. Hey, John, come on over to the phone a little closer here, buddy. Tell me about your perspective.
He's far more interesting.
Tell me about this, because you saw it first.
I did, and I'm afraid I'm very skeptical, and I have to. For weeks after that, I was working everything out to see if anything could create this. I had to find out for myself because I need proof of everything, but. It didn't matter what I did. Open doors, closed doors, windows, curtains, everything. And there's nothing that could create this angel on the wall. And it did have a great effect on me because I do ask for proof of things, and I seem to get answers, because I was a lapsed Catholic, and to come back into the church is very difficult for a lapsed Catholic, as obviously he left the church for a reason, so he has to. It's very difficult to come back without proof of something, Yeah.
And how did this end? Did you guys end up just not going for the walk, coming back? It's gone. How does it fade away? What happened?
We did go out. Yeah. Well, when we came back, obviously the angel was gone, but we were kind of discussing it, and I didn't ask for an angel, but I do ask for proof of things, And the fact that the angel came up at that particular time, I accepted it as a sign,
Right.
And we didn't give up on our rosary walk.
No.
And we haven't given up.
Oh, God, no.
And we haven't given up on the retreat days that we organise.
No, we don't. We
just keep going.
Yeah, and those were the things that might have been dropped if not for the angel.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, because I was really thinking, were we sort of, bang our head against a brick wall, as it were,
Yeah. Well, that's a sweet story. It's a sweet story. Something to fortify your faith and to keep you going. And you
Oh
can't
God, yes,
you
yeah,
can't make that stuff up.
I'm a great believer now. Like I said, I was very skeptical of all these things, but that's.
Yeah, but regarding angels, I do think they do comfort. They do seem to comfort you. That's when they come when you really need it.
Oh yeah, I believe now. I mean, crikey, yeah.
And I was interestingly, there are quite a fair few people who don't believe in anything but will believe in angels, isn't it?
Yeah, that's funny. That is, yeah.
But no,
everybody, you're absolutely right. Isn't it funny? Is that angels kind of cut through everything? They just kind of cut through, and everybody loves, don't they? Yeah. Everybody loves angel stories. Yeah.
Oh yes, and we really enjoyed doing the retreat day around the angels, so that was good.
Yeah, and we do
we try had lots of testimonies from people in the group.
Yeah, and we do try and get touched by heaven in there somewhere, don't we?
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
If you're ever over in England, Trapper, come and join us.
I don't know how we've missed England, just haven't found our way across the channel,
Oh, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we love your voice. It's just so it's so energizing.
It's amazing.
It's you've got a great presence, and it just I think it really lifts people.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
We love the test. We played something a few weeks ago, didn't we? It was Elizabeth, near-death experience.
Yeah, that was a great story. That was a great story.
That priest and that guy in the cafe that prayed for that woman who was having a fit with drugs.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
In fact, that's what inspired our next retreat day, the power of prayer, just because that was really compelling, and we just thought, wow,
I hope we can look forward to you coming to England at some point.
Yeah, we're looking forward to you coming to England, Trapper.
Okay, I will.
The invite is there. We've got a reason. We've got a reason. Yeah, you've got to come and lead our rosary walk.
Okay, Gloucester.
We end the healing. We end the retreat. We end the rosary walk with healing prayer in the Our Lady of Lourdes grotto.
Yeah,
it would be a privilege to have you there.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm sending it out there.
There you go. I mean, we talked about Medjugorje, about someday, and who knows? Maybe it's going to be Gloucester.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty.
Really
I always ask for the takeaway. What's our takeaway, guys? What are we taking from all this?
Well, it doesn't have to be whatever it is. Whatever you take away from it, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Whatever you take away. Yeah, Trap, just take something. Whatever you want. How about angels are real? How about that?
It's
absolutely.
Yeah. I do believe in transcendence. It was at that I would say it was a reminder that there is transcendence.
Thanks, Moira and John, for your wonderful angel story that just kind of stopped you cold and turned you back in the right direction. Very cool. And maybe I should throw this out there, about coming to England and maybe doing a retreat and do some talks. And, she's kind of got me thinking. And then Moira started sending me more emails and going, well, what about that? What about that? Well, okay, let me throw this out there. We're going to be in Medjugorje the end of May, right? And then, and here's another act of God, our friends Angie and David from Australia, who've been on the podcast, and we were in Medjugorje with them last time, they're bringing a group of Australians up to Medjugorje. And what week do they end up on? The week after we're there. So we're going to stick around, spend some time with our friends. So I'm thinking that would probably make it the weekend of June 10th and 11th that we potentially could be there in England, in the UK, and all that. So just throwing it out there, is there something there that we could draw a crowd, big enough crowd, to make this worthwhile to everybody for a weekend retreat and such in Gloucester? Or do we go other places too? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. If you want to get back to me, you can come here to touchedbyheaven.net. We have a contact page. Just send me a note on that if there'd be of interest. And, obviously Moira and Melanie and John and all the gang would try to also draw a crowd too. But I'm just, just between me and you kind of thing. Is that something that would interest you? If you're over there, where you want to go, hey, Mary, where you want to take us next kind of thing, All right, well, next place, we kind of start here with an angel story. We're going to go to Haley.
Hello, can you hear me? I am just coming off of a cold.
Ah.
I thought it'd be gone by now, but it's okay. It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't sound quite right. I don't know.
You sound just fine. You sound like you might have a little bit of a cold, yeah. In this case, as far as growing up with faith, a little bit. There was some faith in home, not a whole lot of God conversation. Baptized Lutheran, grew up Methodist.
So it seemed pretty relaxed. Like we'd pray before bed, but there wasn't a lot of talking about God throughout the day and things like that. But
Right. When did things start happening?
you mean like kind of strange things in
Yeah,
my life?
strange thing. And early on in Haley's life, there was an experience.
I was probably about 3 years old, and I was in my bed at night, and I heard these voices in my room, and it was two men, and it felt like it was like a good and an evil, like a two sort of battling and talking in language I couldn't understand. And it was very, very strange. And it just always stayed with me.
You
I
say a
couldn't
language you
explain.
couldn't understand?
Yes. Hmm.
They were obviously at odds with each other, but you couldn't understand the language.
Right, right. And at the time, I had thought I didn't see anything. I thought I just heard these strange voices. And then, oddly, so years later, Star Wars, the first Star Wars movie came out. And it came out when I was 6 years old. So this is about 3 years later. And I was watching the movie. And you know the part with like Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, where they come together and they both get out their lightsabers and they're going to fight.
Yeah.
And that triggered something in me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's just like what happened in my room. It was something about these lightsabers and the evil and the good. And I thought that's what happened in my room that night. And so I just always kept that in my mind. And then years later, I was listening to the near-death experience of, I think his name is Jim Woodford. I think it was him.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and he said that he saw sort of like this demon. He had a near-death experience where he died. And then this demon was coming after him. And he prayed to God, and then these angels came. And he said, and I quote, he said, they were holding these swords. And he said, George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, must have seen an angel because they looked like lightsabers. And I thought, oh my gosh, that was another piece of the puzzle. So even though I have no visual memory, but I feel like I must have seen something. And I think maybe it was like an angel and demon fighting.
And you said you were how old then?
I was about 3.
But again, at that early age, to even be cognizant of good guys, bad guys, and then the Star Wars movie kind of brings it to life, if you will. Interesting. And also, that is at an age where you're still very much connected to heaven, so that could also be part of that aspect as well.
Right.
At that age, you're not completely seduced into this world yet. You still have those heavenly connections.
I guess I could talk about some of the, I went through a period, well, I lived in an apartment when I was like in my early 20s. And when I was living there, I saw this spooky, like shadow person, I guess they're called. And it like kind of floated out of the wall and it shocked me. And I just kind of was taken aback. And then it was like, it could see that I could see it. And then it went back to where it came from, out of the wall. And it just always like scared me. And I just thought, what is that? And then over the years, I'd live in different places and I would see like similar things like that. And I would always pray. I was always scared, but it only came like once every few years and it would go away and not come back. And it got me kind of interested in the paranormal. Like, what are these things? What's going on? So I started sort of researching that, and it kind of led me to other things. But I didn't, I never was interested in like the occult or actually, doing anything at all like that. And even that stuff I didn't like to learn about, but just kind of the typical, paranormal mysteries I always kind of liked. And so I feel like that kind of opened a door that I shouldn't have opened, just even being interested in that stuff, paying attention to that more than paying attention to like God and the mysteries of God and the Bible, I think was bad. At some point when we were living in the house we live now, and nobody lived here before, it was just us. It was new to us. And so I always kind of thought these things were maybe ghosts or I didn't know what they were. And so, but I thought, well, in this house, nobody lived here before. As far as we know, it's not on an ancient burial ground or anything like that. And years went by and nothing happened at all. And then things started really happening. And it was probably about 7 years ago, I'd say. And my son has autism. And when he was littler, he was always afraid of the dark, always afraid to sleep alone. So I slept with him quite a bit, or at least like lay with him until he fell asleep. So this one night, I was laying with him, and I was facing like the wall, and he was facing the other wall. And I was just kind of waiting for him to go to sleep. And I didn't sense anything in the room at all. And I just kind of turned over, and I saw this big, scary thing standing next to his side of the bed looking at him. And it looked almost like, if you've seen like another movie reference, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, that Groot character. He's kind of like
yes, I remember Groot.
Yes, it was like that, like a tall tree type man. It was very strange. So I like screamed, and then my son kind of woke up. By then it had disappeared. So thank goodness he did not see anything. Things started to ramp up. So these shadow creatures started coming back. I'm not sleeping at all. I'm sleeping with my son every night, just awake, watching. I'm praying, I've got the cross out. I'm like doing whatever I can do. And thankfully during the day, nothing would happen. It was always at night. So we would have the shadows in the room and these spooky, like jellyfish looking creatures like on the ceiling, and every night. And even like a couple nights, the bed would shake. And it got really bad. I was terrified because I wasn't going to church then very much. And so I picked my son up and brought him home. We get in the garage. I close the door, and he gets out of the car, and he says, "What's that?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "I'm hearing voices." And I said, "Oh no," and I'm thinking in my head, like, "Oh, they're here in the garage." But I couldn't hear anything, but he could. And I said, "Just go inside." Go in that side of the house. I think it's just somebody outside and we can hear them. So don't worry about it. I didn't want him to know anything. So I'm thinking, what do I do? And I remembered that for some reason, my stepmom's mother, so my step grandmother, she had passed away. She was very religious and very Catholic, and she had a rosary that my stepmom had given me after she died. So I got out this rosary, and I didn't even know how to use it. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was special. I knew she was very special and very such a good person. And I thought, I'll try sleeping with this, So I slept with it, and it got better. Like seeing things started to get better. And then I learned how to use it. But even then I wasn't like doing the mysteries. I just was, okay, this bead, you do the Our Father. This bead, it's the Hail Mary. So I started doing that, and then pretty much went away. And in fact, it was interesting because I got a lot braver. Like when I would see something, I was just like, go away, leave me alone, leave us alone, And so I just got stronger and braver, and they got weaker. And then so now I use it every single day, and I use it properly with the mysteries and everything.
It's powerful, isn't it? And isn't it interesting how, you don't know everything about it, but at the same time, he respects your wanting to use the rosary in the proper way. So it's like he gives you the learning curve, It's like, go ahead, learn how to do this. But in the meantime, I'm still going to do wonderful things through it,
Right.
Because it is an incredible spiritual weapon. No question about it. That's what it was designed for. When Mary introduced it to St. Dominic, it was to fight heresies. There were a lot of heresies in the church then, a lot of lies and people trying to say things that wasn't part of church teachings, and of course just for spiritual warfare. And there you go. And of course, heresies are spiritual warfare. That's part of that thing too. So,
right.
It's powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. And that's what I want people to know is it works, and it is so powerful. And we're more powerful than those things
Amen.
are.
They're afraid of us. That's why they bother us. That's why they come after us. That's why they try to scare us, is that we are
Right.
messing up their world as we are supposed
Exactly.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think God like allowed that to happen to me because I that's something about the Bible that I did question sometimes. I was like, casting out the demons, and it seemed like did everyone have a demon attached to them? Like, well, how common was this? And I just
If you read Mark's gospel, it was real. There was a lot
yeah.
of that going on.
I was never really into New Age. I just went to God. So I never was like a crystals person or anything at all like that. But I was into like, learning about the paranormal and was interested in that. But yeah, but I stopped that. Once these scary things started happening, I'm like, I'm done. I mean, I would still listen to things that were like positive, like angel stories or miracles or, God's are like your stuff,
Yeah, well, and God is the original paranormal. There's
exactly.
This is all. You can call it paranormal, but God is the original paranormal for going. He can do anything. He can defy all kinds of physics and everything else. Here, obviously, he's God.
I mean, this was probably I was in my 40s, so like 7 years ago.
Okay.
This was kind of when all that was going on.
So, where were you in your faith at this point? I mean, I'm kind of listening to this transformation, if you will, where you're starting to introduce some of the good stuff into your world, but you're still getting some of these dark things as well.
Mm-hmm. So that was ongoing, and then when I started getting the rosary involved, I got a miraculous medal, the whole thing.
There is the paranormal. There is a lot of mystery out there, but then there's the original paranormal called God. And as Haley started drifting more towards the light, the original paranormal God, that other paranormal started fading away from Haley's life.
The very last thing I saw was, and I don't know if it was an angel or not. I'm not sure what it was, but it was at night, and I opened my eyes, and there was this white, sort of maybe it wasn't a child, but it was child size. It was kind of small, but it was like kind of at the foot of my bed, and it had its hand reached out toward me, just a flat hand, not menacing or anything. And but it was looked away, but it was like solid white. But anyway, I assume it was a good thing, because since I saw that, I've not seen anything else. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Hand towards you, but not looking at you.
Yes, like hand toward me, almost like don't bother her, but kind of a feeling.
And, kind of a protection, maybe?
It felt like a protection. I'm going to hope that it was a good thing, because I literally have seen nothing since.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm I read the Bible every day. I do the rosary almost every day. I pray. I'm now going in RCIA.
So you're studying to be a Catholic?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to church more. And I mean, that's the end of that part. I could talk about, there's some more positive things.
Okay,
that's
sure.
The negative things. Well, this is kind of interesting. So my brother, unfortunately, he passed away. He had cancer, and he was on a vent and not really responding. So we knew it was toward the end. And I was going back to the hospital, and I just had this feeling that if I was able to be alone with him, I would see something. I'd have an experience. So I was sitting by him. I saw this white light, just just a thin sort of shard of light go like up out of him. And oddly, it was like from his leg area, I think, because I was sitting up near his head and chest maybe. And so I just kind of saw it at a glimpse kind of it, but it definitely came out. But he was still alive, and he ended up dying a few hours later. But I just thought that was interesting. So it was interesting. But then, so he did pass away. And then the next morning I got up, and it was in the winter time. So it was extremely dark in the house. And I was walking by the front door, and I saw like the brightest light I'd ever seen, just this flash of light, big flash of light. And I immediately thought, like, what is somebody driving by with their lights on, like this hour of the morning? And
it was outside.
Well, no, it was inside,
The light was
like my
inside.
mom, it was inside, but I thought maybe it came through the window.
Oh.
So then I just kind of walked around the corner and went to the kitchen. And then I saw it again, like more directly. And it was just this huge column of the brightest light I'd ever seen, but it didn't hurt my eyes. And it just it went whoosh, it was there and gone. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's my brother, And so I prayed and I talked to him, and I just thought, that has to be my brother. Like, what else could it be? And then I thought, well, should I? And then later I thought I need to tell my mom about this, but she gets nervous about anything like strange like that. But I thought, this is important. Like, I need to tell her this. So I ended up telling her, I think the next day. And I said, what happened? I saw the column of light. And she paused and she said, I saw the same thing. And she saw the same thing, like that same morning, bright column of light in her house. So
let's pause right about here. Then more with Haley here on Touched by Heaven, Everyday Encounters with God. Quick Patreon shout out. Actually, I want to thank three. I want to thank Camille Anter, Andrew Harper, and Matt Sanders. I know you're listening. You guys have been there from way back when and have been supporting us from way back when. And just a thank you to the three of you for doing so. And if you'd like to join the Patreon family, please, you can come here to episode 252, click your way through to Patreon, or go to patreon.com directly and search for Trapper Jack. Thank you for your support and making this all go. You really do. Actually, Haley, who we're talking to, she's been with Patreon for a while. She's always said, one of these days I'm going to get up my courage and I'm going to tell you my story. So she's telling us her story today, which I'm so grateful for. And Haley, and I should ask you why. What caused the crossing over from listener to listener and supporter?
Oh my gosh, so much, Trapper. I love hearing people's stories, and my faith is restored every time. I don't have doubt anymore. That's the best gift, is I have no doubt at all that God is real, Jesus is real, Mary is so wonderful, and every saint, every angel, they're with us, they're real, they're here. And I am so grateful to you. You're spreading that message, and that's so important.
Thanks, Haley. To join the Patreon family, you can come here to episode 252 at touchedbyheaven.net, or go to patreon.com and search for Trapper Jack. And thank you. All right, now back to Haley. God is so good. I just love, you just got to love how God just confirms, what we are taught.
Yeah.
And, last night I hadn't seen the movie Heaven is for Real for a long time, about the little Burpo kid.
I
Colton
love that
Burpo.
movie.
Isn't that a great, it's a wonderful story of him going to heaven, and he visits with his sister that died in his mommy's tummy, and all these things that he shouldn't know. And and the movie kind of talks about the conflict of, it doesn't make sense. Again, God, the original paranormal, and he gives us these little glimpses, just these little glimpses of heaven to reassure us that everything we are learning, it is true. There is truth in it all.
I agree with that. And I think we need to acknowledge when they happen too. Like I told my mom, I'm like, make sure you thank God for letting you see that, make sure you thank, my brother for letting, like, how hard was that to come to us? Was it hard? Did he have to get permission from God? I don't know.
I know what you mean. It's God's will, whatever it is, Yeah, but to your point, that's very good. Thank you. To have some gratitude for that sign. Exactly.
And I also saw my grandma, after she passed away very unexpectedly. She was older, but she was very healthy. And so when she died, it was a shock. And so I was very upset, and I cried for days. And so I kind of was like praying and wishing, I'm like, if I could just have another minute with her, if I could just have a few more minutes with her, and I just wished for that so much. And then, so 3 days after she died, this was at night as well, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and she was standing at the end of my bed. And she looked like her, but just a little different, like a little younger. And I was just kind of in shock. And I and she wasn't talking to me, but she was smiling. And she even kind of, this is weird, but she did like a little dance. Like she smiled and kind of did a little shimmy dance. And I was like, what is she doing? This is all in a matter of just a few seconds. And immediately my mind was like, oh, she's just trying to tell me that she's okay. And then with that, she just vanished. Thank you, God, for giving me that gift, But it has just given me, a feeling like we don't die. There is something next. And I believe it's with God. And this is the last one. I hope you're not busy. But
I'm fine, Haley.
so,
This. I'm loving this. This is beautiful. Don't worry about me. This is what I do.
okay, thank you. I'm enjoying it too. I love your podcast so much. Um, so, okay, so I was going through this rough period in my life, and so I happened to be in the car. So I was getting really sort of sad in the car, and I was thinking about this thing I was going through, and I was tearful and just feeling like bad. So then I had this feeling to turn on the radio. So I'll turn on the radio. And it was this Prince song, Raspberry Beret, which I used to love. I love that song. It's such a cheerful song. And so I thought, oh, good, this is a cheerful song. And then I really felt the presence of Jesus, like sitting next to me. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything, but I just felt him next to me. And it was like a friend, like, when a great song comes on the radio and you're singing with a friend, felt like that. And so I was instantly like not sad. I was singing along. I felt like Jesus was with me singing along. I know it sounds insane. Literally like a week later, I'm still going through this difficult situation, and I'm in the car again. I'm feeling sad. So I turned on the radio, and it was another Prince song. It was like, let's go crazy. Again, I feel like Jesus is sitting next to me. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything, but I just feel it. And I'm singing along. I'm tearing up. I'm cheering up and feeling better. And then I get home, and again, I'm like, did that really happen? Like, was I really jamming with Jesus? So I opened my Bible, and I forgot that my bookmark for my Bible is that Akian painting of Jesus.
Ooh, Akiana Kromeric and it's highlighted in the movie I just mentioned, Heaven is for Real. Yeah.
Exactly.
She was painting. She sees Jesus in heaven at age 4, learns how to paint so that by age, was it 6 or 9, she paints this incredible picture of Jesus. Yeah.
It's shockingly amazing.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And that's my image of Jesus. Like that's
mine too. It's funny you say that. When I think of, picture Jesus, since I can't see so well anymore, but I remember what that painting looked like. And to me, that's my Jesus as well. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you remember it. But what's really interesting is on the bottom of the picture, it says the Prince of Peace. And it's these Prince songs.
Prince.
With the Prince of Peace. So it felt like he was saying, no, Haley, really, I was there.
Sharing your joy.
Yes, exactly. And making me feel better, as, he always does. So.
And these are the little things. These are these little, most people miss it, and you're not missing it. I think that's precious. I think it draws you closer. I think it makes God smile, and I think it's real.
Thank you. I do. I want to. I just want people to know that, that He is with us, and just open your mind to it, open your heart to it, and
and see Him in everything, because He is in everything.
Yes, I agree completely.
I always ask about the takeaway because you've seen some darkness in your life earlier. You've seen a lot of lighter things lately, as you make your your transition, your transformation about what you know and what you're interested in and what you're following. There's been a definite change there. It's a different world now.
Yes, it is. It is, and I would say just that don't discount evil in the world, and don't discount it like I did in the Bible. Like, is it really there? Is surrounded by how much influence does this have in our world? It has a lot. It has a lot. And always go toward the light and the goodness. And God is so much more powerful than these bad things, and that it's important. And I just love everyone out there. I love everyone listening because I know they're all such good people. And it's important what you're doing, Trapper. I really, it's so wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I so appreciate our time today. It's been sweet. It's just been as you are. And you talk about the listeners being, I agree with you totally. Those who listen to this, they're not going to listen unless they embrace the good. I think you're totally right about who listens and who is seeking and who is finding. So this has been terrific, Haley. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, I'm so glad. I've enjoyed it too. I love you. I love Elizabeth. Like, you're such good people.
Thanks, Haley. From that 3-year-old experience, from angel versus demon, through the paranormal, through the original paranormal God, and seeing God in the everyday. That's just a beautiful journey. Thank you for your story. And if you think about it, there is an intersection between Haley's story and Moira and John's story. In both cases, it's the good guys versus the bad guys. Good angels, bad demons. Here's Haley, age 3, hearing the battle. If not able to discern the language yet, but hearing the battle. Moira and John, same thing's going on. Bad guys have been talking to him. This whole evangelization thing isn't working. It's feeling flat. That whole rosary walk, that whole evangelization thing, the retreats. Let's just throw in the towel. In comes the good angel. One appearance. Oh, that's right. This is real. And immediately redirected towards the good. And as Haley kind of had to go through that dark phase of her life, and then eventually working her way to the good and finding the light. There are similarities here. And also, again, Gloucester, England. What do you think? Anybody? Anyone? Let me know at touchbyheaven.net. Drop me a note, and Moira and Melanie and John and all of us will talk about it. Who knows? Maybe in June? I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Now then, what is your story? Love to hear it. Here at touchbyheaven.net. Be it an angel, an encounter of some sort, divine intervention, near-death experience, God incident, I'd love to hear it. Thank you for your Patreon support here at episode 252 at touchbyheaven.net or patreon.com. All right, we'll do this again next week, okay? Can't wait to hear the next person from Gloucester, England, or wherever it may be. Here at Touched by Heaven, everyday encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack, and no matter where we meet, remember the proper greeting.
Hello!
Hello!
That's Trapper!
Mrs. Doubtfire!